boat is by how big our cover is. If we build the boat too big and the cover's not big enough, then you can see where that's going, right? So this tarp's pretty big. If you got something small like a hide or whatever you're making it out, what you want to do is lay it out. Sit in the center of it, okay? And then pull it up. See how big your cover can be, okay? So to cover this, I can go about like this all the way around. So I'm going to make my top hoop that size. And that's going to determine, you know, the size around of the boat. You can see I made this hoop. That big, right? So it'll fit this tarp. It's obviously not rocket science because I can do it. So. Okay, to bend that top hoop to get started, what we're going to do is cut 4 stakes. This is actually going to help us build the boat. Drive your first one, put your hand on it, hold the other one in your hand, that's where it goes. Center yourself up between the two you just drove. Put your hand on it. Okay, so we have the circumference kind of our boat laid out. So to start this hoop, we're going to take our sticks that we decided we wanted to use for the top hoop. Now if you notice on this one, I used the longest ones I had. I have about this much overlap. Overlap's a good thing. Okay, this ring is the base of everything. Obviously my demo piece isn't that long. To bend this, we're going to find the middle, guesstimate, go on the inside of your side, the outside of your front, and my piece isn't long enough. And we're going to bend that around, and if it was long enough, we'd just hook it on that stake. And then do the same thing on the front. Now it's going to hold it for us and lash it, right? So we'll have that bent around there and we'll lash it. You know, so we need to know how to fasten this together and do our lashing, correct? So let's talk about a couple simple lashings.
You owe the water. Can make them drink.
I know that's right. Hops.
I think Mr. Janey is going to go a little farther in the lashings later. So we'll get this, we'll pick up on a little bit. There's only 2 lashings in this boat. There's a splice lashing, which is just splicing 2 pieces together side by side. And then a square lashing at all the intersections. I'm going to show you the right way to do it, then I'm going to show you my way to do it. Okay? And you'll see the reason why I do it my way. So to splice these together, first thing, everybody know how to tie a clove hitch? Clove hitch?
After last class, we're not sure.
A loop, pass it behind itself. There's your clove hitch, okay? We're going to start with a clove hitch. I always leave this tag in, and I'll show you why. We'll hold that off, then we got our cross piece, okay? If everybody see my standing end of the line, it wants to come off there in a certain direction, okay? It's pointing this way, so you want to start that way. You're just going to go around these pieces. as many times as you feel necessary. Just like that, back and forth, making use. Then when we get down to where we think that's where we want it, to tighten this up, you go around the center of the lashing and pull it tight. Okay? That's going to pull it tight. And then we'll finish this off with another clove hitch around the piece that you tied the previous clove hitch to. I put all my knots on the same piece of wood. Why, I don't really know. It's just the way I do it, okay? Now, my way of doing this is I got this piece. Tying a clove hitch, you know, with your thumb around it, go around twice, back through, all that's kind of a pain in the butt. So I pull that tight. Now remember, I left this tag end here. A whole lot easier than tying clove hitches and all that. Just back it off with a square knot. So, that's our intersection lashing. Or square lashing, or whatever you want to call it. There's 100 names for this stuff. I hope you guys are pretty decent at lashings, because we need to relash this boat before we put it in the water, because it took like a car ride and all that stuff. But our intersections here where we bent our ring, we got our pieces laying next to each other. And not too many sticks lay together perfect. So we're going to start off with our clove hitch again. And I take this tag in and I hold it in my hand that I'm holding this together with. If I can do this holding it up. And I just wrap it down as tight as I can. And I usually come back on my clove hitch. Instead of working away from my clove hitch, my first couple wraps are over my initial clove hitch, kind of holds it tight. Then I'll wrap that back around as many times as you think you need. When I do stuff like this, guys, I always subscribe to one of my mentors and good friends who's now passed, Ron Hood. Anybody know who Ron Hood is? The king?
Hoodlum.
Okay, bow down when Ron Hood's name's mentioned. He had a saying, it only needs to be good enough, close enough. Enough.
Enough.
Enough is the word. Good enough, close enough. Tie that off one piece. Using a stick here again, maybe.
Steve,
Yes, ma'am.
when you're putting the ribs on it, which one do you start with? The middle?
The center.
Okay.
I do. Oh, that's a good question. I should have clarified. I do my center one going sideways first usually. I decide which is going to be the front or back of my boat, and you can kind of just decide that. There's no really any rule to it. I do my center one going one direction first, and then do the front and back going that same direction. So you have the ones going to the side on one layer, then the ones going the other direction, I bend the center one first, and then do the side to side in another layer. That way you don't get all this woven stuff, which woven would be stronger, but when you go to skin this, it'll be a train wreck. Okay, so this is why we gotta do it that way. And when it's on the ground, I do any of these intersection lashings I can get to, just so when I flip